Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's go with a little bit more relationship advice. Today I want to talk about how not to lose yourself in a relationship, how not to lose your individuality in somebody else. And that's happened to me before. I was engaged to a woman a long time ago, and right before we got married, we ended up breaking up, and it was all for the best. I'm so glad that I didn't get married and have kids with her, because she would have been the wrong person for me. But doing the reflection as we normally do when we look back on a relationship of why did it go bad, I realized that I had lost myself in her, and that I needed to go through a process of kind of recreating myself, or at least remembering who I used to be, and to reclaim that. I felt really bad that I had done that, and not that it would have extended the relationship, because it was a bad relationship, and that one wasn't meant to be. It wasn't in the stars. It was glad that, I don't know if it was God saving me, but it was glad that it crumbled. It was a good thing that it crumbled, but it wasn't a good thing that I let myself go in that way, and that I gave up so much of who I was in order to be with somebody else. And if you have to give up who you are in order to be with somebody else, that person is not the right person. They're absolutely not the right person. You should be single instead of being with a person who wants you to give up your individuality and the things that make you up. Just go jack off. You don't need that piece of ass. Trust me on that. But it's just a good lesson as you move forward with relationships, because it can be tempting to, as if these types of sacrifices are dedication and loyalty, and they're not. It's important to be able to retain who we are for our own mentality, our own happiness, our own psyche. It's important to have boundaries, even if you're in a very serious, close relationship. When you're living with somebody, you can still have boundaries. So some of the things that I've learned, let's just go down the list here at random. I don't have it written down, I don't have notes, but see if I can remember some of these things. One of the failures that I had, and one thing that is good to remember, is to not give up some of the interesting, creative aspects of who you are. Now, in order to be with this woman, I would give up. I used to like to go see live music. She didn't like the type of music. We didn't really vibe on the same type of music. And she didn't really like that scene. And I liked to go to punk shows, heavy metal shows. She didn't like that. I would miss her. I would go to some of these events without her. People would ask, "Oh, where's your old lady?" She's at home. She didn't want to come or whatever. And then slowly, I would stop going out and stop enjoying something that I really enjoyed doing, and kind of gave up a part of me. Definitely gave up some friends and an experience that I'd enjoyed just to be with her at home, so we could watch TV, watch movies and fuck later, and have that experience. It seemed like that was, at the time, a good choice, and I was being dedicated. I was being a good boyfriend. I was being a good potential husband, and we were going to get married. But I look back on it and realized that no, I was giving up part of something that I really enjoy doing. Music has always been something that I really love, and why give that up for anybody? Somebody has to understand that this is part of me, and Sky's going to be out seeing some shows, and that's just the way it goes. Another thing that I realized that I had made a bad step on was financially. We were spending money together at first with rent, of course, both paying rent, and then bills, obviously, and then food, and then it just kept building up. So we said, let's go in having a joint bank account. It's a terrible idea. Never do a joint bank account. If you do a joint bank account, have your own savings. Both of you have separate savings accounts. So you can have a joint fund that draws and you both put into, and then that you can have your bills and all the stuff, your operational costs, so to speak, if we were talking about business, but your bills and the normal things that you're sharing, those can be taken from there. I still think it's better to have your own separate checking account and your own savings account, and then you calculate what your part of the bill is, and you pay. If you're paying half, then you pay that half of that. or what your half of the rent is, you pay half. However you got your mix, going, I think it's best to have your own money. My grandfather and grandmother, they were married for 60 years, from high school all the way up until their 80s or whatever, for a long time. And my grandmother always had her own bank accounts, always. She always had her own money. They don't share money. That will ruin shit, man. One of the reasons, not just because of budgeting, and budgeting arguments can be awful, and that saves some of that when you have your own money. But it gives you freedom. Having your own bank account is part of your own freedom. You can spend your money how you want. You don't have to have stupid, silly arguments about how much beer you bought, or why did you buy a pair of sneakers the other day and you didn't check with me. I don't fucking ask nobody. I'm a grown man. I can buy sneakers anytime I goddamn want. I have a fucking job. I don't have to ask nobody. But if you have a joint bank account, yes you do. You're going to have those little conversations around the dinner table. I used to, about stupid shit, about stuff like that. And I'd have to explain stuff that I'd never explained before. Why did I buy underwear? Because I need it. Shut the fuck up. What, could I bought cheaper underwear? No, this is the stuff I buy. Shut up. I don't want to have these conversations. You don't have to if you have your own money. So it will help you retain some of your manhood, some of who you are as an individual, of having your own money. And same with her. And you don't have to control somebody. She can spend her money however the fuck she wants. It has nothing to do with you. That's her money. And you can spend it however you want. Same way. It's important not to give up your friends. It happens to every single married couple, especially when they have kids, because you have responsibilities, you have your work, you get busy, and then all of a sudden, you just don't have time to hang out as much anymore. I get it. I've been there. But if you're using your friends on times that your girl is out, and this is how I know a lot of guys that operate this way these days, is they don't really have friends other than when their girl goes on vacation, goes back to see their mother for some reason, or is on a ladies' night out on a particular night that the guy's not invited to, and these are rare occasions during the month. And then that's the time where they're sitting there on the phone looking through, who can I call, who can I hang out with? That's not real friendship. You need to be able to retain your friendship, because that type of socialization is also part of who you are. And this can be a great source of release, and you want to have your own boundaries. You want to be able to have your own life. You want to be able to have your own thing going on. When I broke up with this woman I was engaged with, right before our wedding, I found out she cheated on me. We broke up. She cheated on me with like half my friends. I'm so glad I found all that out before, not after. But I realized that I had given up so many of my friends just to be hanging out with her all the time, that it was hard for me to reach out all of a sudden when I was single. It was difficult. I had to rebuild myself and go kind of with my tail between my legs and back around some people, friends that I used to hang out with, and just be like, well, I'm back, and sorry, I've been gone this whole time. And luckily people will embrace you. They'll take you back. But the point is, don't give it up to begin with. So these are just some major areas that you can retain of who you are, that you should always have no matter what, that no matter what relationship that you go into in your lifetime, or if you're in one now, you should have your own friends, you should have your own money, you should have your own sense of creativity and style and be allowed to express that. You see this crazy artwork that I have on the back of my walls, and I have this stuff all over the house. When I was living with this woman that I was engaged to, and I was so dedicated to her and so willing to make her happy and do anything to her and show her, how devoted I was, and my self-sacrifice just felt like that was somehow empowering the both of us, and look what I can do. I ended up living in this little pink palace of hers, because I figured, well, if this makes you happy, you could put up any kind of stuff you want, do whatever you want to do. I don't really care. Buy whatever sofa you want to buy. I don't really care. Put up whatever pictures you want to put up. I don't really care. And she went crazy with that. Well, great. He doesn't really care, so I'm going to do it up. And I come home, and the place looks like this girl palace. And I'm like, well, just convincing myself this is how I live. I'm over her house. I'm paying for this. It's my place too. I'm an equal partner in this place. We got the place together. But I'm just living in her place like some child. That's kind of how it felt when I moved out. And I moved out of there and was just like, well, I have nothing. I don't own anything. I don't even have plates. I don't have anything. So you got to have stuff that's you. You know, I own a motorcycle shop. I see guys giving up their motorcycles to go buy minivans because they want to be in this joint relationship and they feel like the minivan is some. Get a minivan if you feel like you have stuff to tote around. You know, whatever reason you want to buy one of those things. You know, your kids and all the shit you carry. I don't care. Whatever. But don't give up part of you to go and buy something else and to be a part of the. You know, you can't be a conjoined twin. You can't be a Siamese twin. You have to be your own person. You have to be an individual. You know, I know it's a lot to think about. This type of stuff only hit me after the fact. If I were to watch this video when I was going through it, I would have been like, well, that's not me. That was definitely me. I gave up all of me to be with her and thought that that was a certain brand of being a good boyfriend, of being devoted and loyal. It wasn't. It was pure beta, weakness, simp bullshit. Stay who you are no matter what. Thanks for watching.